Let's open the book on this. Which heavyweight champion is also known as Dr. Steelhammer and holds a PhD? Let's find out.
Hey, I'm Garrett, feeling pretty pumped to dive into today's topic.
And I'm Leah, thrilled to explore with you. Welcome to Laid Back Learning with Leah and Garrett.
All right, let's set the stage for this one. We're talking Wladimir Klitschko today, the Ukrainian heavyweight legend with a right hand like a piston and a brain wired for strategy.
He's the one they call Dr. Steelhammer Doctor because he actually earned a PhD in sports science, and Steelhammer because that power.
Quick story. I once tried a beginner boxing class, and I thought it was going to be like a cardio warm-up. 10 minutes in, my shoulders were jelly, my stance was a mess, and I learned real fast that distance control is a whole art. I came away with so much respect for how guys like Klitschko make hard things look simple.
Totally. It looks straightforward until you realize every step, every feint, is a decision. When someone like Klitschko treats the ring like a chessboard, you see why precision wins fights. Basic picture first. Wladimir Klitschko is a retired Ukrainian heavyweight who fought from the late 1990s to 2017. He's known for a ramrod jab, a crushing straight right, and disciplined style that protected him while still breaking opponents down.
Think of him like a chess grandmaster in gloves. In simple terms, he'd control squares of the ring with his jab, kind of like controlling the center of a chessboard, and then launch the right hand when the opening was forced. High percentage moves, low unnecessary risk.
He fought in an orthodox stance, which just means left hand and left foot forward, and he used clinching a lot, which is when a boxer ties up the opponent to stop their offense and reset. Not flashy, but super effective for pacing and safety.
Let's get into his early life. He was born in 1976 in what's now Semey, Kazakhstan, since his dad served in the Soviet Air Force. Military family life meant moving around a lot, and that discipline shows up later in how he trained and fought.
He even lived in Pripyat in the Ukrainian SSR before the Chernobyl disaster, forced evacuations, and his father later took part in the cleanup. That's a heavy formative experience, and it adds context to Vladimir's sense of duty we see much later in life.
As a kid and teen, he trained through Ukraine's sports school system and also in Poland at the Gwardia Warszawa club. That cross-border experience gave him a broad look at European styles early on.
By 1993, he was winning big, taking gold at the European Junior Championships in Thessaloniki, and then medals kept stacking. If you hear RSCI in his amateur record, that just means the referee stopped the contest due to injury. Not the same as being outboxed start to finish.
He had a couple of walkovers in his amateur losses too. A walkover is when your opponent doesn't show or can't fight, and that counts on the record. It's a technical thing in amateur tournaments that can look odd on paper.
The big amateur headline is Atlanta 1996. He won Olympic gold at super heavyweight, which in amateur terms means over 91 kilograms. That's a springboard that sends promoters knocking immediately.
Right after that, he signed with Universum Box Promotion, a Hamburg-based company in Germany. He started out with trainer Fritz Dunek, and Germany basically became his pro home base for years with huge TV audiences.
His early pro arc moved fast. In October 2000, he beat Chris Bird, who's a slick American southpaw known for defense, to win the WBO heavyweight title. That was a statement win, because Bird had previously picked up a belt off Vladimir's brother Vitaly due to an injury retirement.
From there, he stacked solid defenses. He stopped Francois Botha, a tough South African contender, and then Ray Mercer in 2002. Mercer's an American former champ famous for a granite chin, and Klitschko became the first man to stop him. That's real power and timing.
But 2003 brought Corey Sanders, a fast-handed South African southpaw. Sanders shocked him with quick, looping lefts in just 2 rounds. It was the Ring magazine's upset of the year. That loss rattled the whole division's expectations.
Then came Lamont Brewster in 2004, an American puncher. Wladimir started strong but faded and was stopped in round 5. Afterward, his team raised medical concerns, and we'll dig into that. In the short term, it triggered a rethink of everything from pacing to corner staff.
He hired Emanuel Stewart, the Hall of Fame trainer from Detroit's Kronk Gym. Stewart is famous for turning talented but vulnerable heavyweights into patient jab-first champions. He did it with Lennox Lewis. He did it again here.
Under Stewart, Klitschko learned to slow fights down, live behind the jab, hold on the inside when necessary, and choose high-percentage shots. Less chaos, fewer exchanges, more certainty. Not gonna lie, it wasn't always crowd-pleasing, but it was brutally effective.
Corner note. His cutman changed after the Brewster fight with Jacob Stitch Duran coming in. Duran is one of the most respected cutmen in the sport. That stability matters in long championship runs where one bad cut can flip a night.
And one more layer to his mental game. He regularly played blitz chess with Garry Kasparov, who is a former world chess champion. Fast time controls, rapid calculations. It maps right on to anticipating combinations and traps in the ring.
Rebuild complete. He recaptured titles in 2006 by beating Chris Bird again, this time for the IBF and IBO. Then in 2008, he added the WBO by beating Sultan Ibragimov, a crafty Russian southpaw. That set up a long stretch of unified belts.
In 2009, he defeated Ruslan Chagaev from Uzbekistan and was recognized with the ring title, which is like the magazine's championship, often tied to lineal status. It says you're the guy in the division, not just a belt holder.
Then 2011 brought David Haye, a British star who moved up from cruiserweight. Wladimir won and added the WBA super title. Quick term check. Unified champion means holding multiple major belts at once. It's hard to do and even harder to keep for years.
Physically, he had every tool, about 6'6" with a reach of over 81 inches. He used that to jab from the outside and to control clinches inside. He kept his back tall, his feet under him, and he punished mistakes rather than chasing them.
He ended up holding heavyweight records like most total days as champion and the most different opponents beaten in world title fights. That speaks to longevity and breadth, not just one big win and done.
And he could still crack. He became the first man to stop Ray Mercer, who had a granite chin. That's like a durability stress test. If you can pass that, your power is certified.
With his brother Vitaly, who is a former WBC champion and now mayor of Kiev, he formed what people call the Klitschko era. The brothers refused to fight each other, so they basically ruled separate lanes and piled up defenses. Guinness World Records even recognized their combined title fight wins as brothers.
He finished his pro career in 2017 with 69 total fights, 64 wins, 53 by knockout, 5 losses. In 2021, he was inducted into the International Boxing Hall of Fame on the first ballot. That's the sport tipping its cap.
And in 2022, as the war in Ukraine escalated, he entered service in the Ukrainian army. It fits the through line of family duty and national service that we saw going all the way back to his childhood. Real talk, that one gave me chills. All right, let's get to the heart of a controversial piece, the 2004 loss to Lamont Brewster. Vladimir's team later said hospital tests showed dangerously high blood sugar and raised the possibility of poisoning or foul play. Dr. Margaret Goodman, who is Nevada's ringside physician, confirmed a serious concussion, but was skeptical of drugging claims without evidence.
And attorney Judd Bernstein pointed to unusual betting line movement before the fight. There was also a broader FBI look into boxing corruption around that time. But, and this is key, no definitive public finding tied directly to that specific bout has ever been presented, so it remains an open question in the record.
I lean toward believing the health crisis was real, the collapse after the bell, the reported blood sugar issue, the concussion. Even if there was no poisoning, the medical side alone could explain the sudden fade. The body can just shut down under extreme stress.
I hear that. I'm kind of on the other side, though. Not dismissing the symptoms, but with no conclusive toxicology or official report tying it to foul play, I tend to see it as a brutal night that revealed a weakness in pacing, which then turned into the spark for a strategic rebuild under Stewart.
Why would pacing catch up that fast, though? He looked in control early. Is it just that heavyweights can flip momentum with one clean shot and the concussion cascaded everything else?
Yeah, pretty much. In heavyweight boxing, one heavy shot can mess with equilibrium and blood chemistry. Once your legs go, all the planning in the world feels far away. Then if your energy management is too aggressive early, the crash can be sudden. Stewart's whole program solved exactly that problem.
Pop culture ripple. The nickname Dr. Steelhammer was everywhere. It was a promoter's dream, linking the PhD with that industrial-grade power. And then the chess sessions with Garry Kasparov, people loved that image of a champion playing speed chess to sharpen his mind under pressure.
And remember, Charles Shufford, one of his early title defenses. Shufford played George Foreman in the movie Alley and even walked in with Will Smith for that fight. Reports at times claimed his fights reached hundreds of millions of viewers across Europe and beyond. Those big numbers vary by source, but the cross-border draw was real. Counterfactual time. What if Corey Sanders never lands that shocker in 2003? No upset. My gut says we might have seen an earlier full unification push, maybe faster consolidation of the belts in the early 2000s. The matchmaking landscape could have looked very different, especially in the US versus Europe tug-of-war.
I could see that, but I also wonder if without the wake-up call, he keeps the more aggressive style and stays a little more open to counters. Seamless dominance might happen for a stretch, but maybe the risk profile stays higher and a different upset shows up later. What a twist, right?
Fair. No Sanders might mean a different teacher arrives later or not at all, and Stewart's blueprint was the key to that long reign. Without it, maybe we get more fireworks, but fewer consecutive defenses. The division's timing with Vitali holding a WBC lane also complicates it.
Either way, the Klitschko era still likely happens, because having two elite brothers at the same time changes the math. But the texture shifts, maybe fewer clinches, more mid-range trades, and earlier attempts to pull all the belts under one roof. It's got more weight than it seems. So there's your big picture on Dr. Steelhammer. Strategy, power, patience, and a legacy that stretched well beyond the ring.
Stay curious and keep learning. If you shadowbox today, keep that jab in front and your feet under you. That's the gist.